I had just two quick points to make. I misstated it. I don't want to ask a question. It was regard, Brian, to Josh Hawley not seeing the evidence. All 34 of the charges have been turned over to the Trump team once they indicted him. So I'm sure Josh Hawley had an opportunity, if he wanted, to look at that evidence.
You think he's looked at all the evidence?
I think he's a smart enough fellow because I've seen him do quite a few interrogations on TV.
So here's the thing, JD.
Let me finish my second. Let me finish my second point.
Okay, but hold on. Before you go to the second point, let me just respond to your first point. I promise you, I'll give you an opportunity. Josh Hawley was making those types of statements before that evidence was turned over. So that's why it leads me to believe, and by the way, so many other Republicans on television and on the radio have been doing the same thing, including Mike Huckabee and many others that have stated on the record before even knowing what the charges were, let alone the evidence, that they believe that this was a mockery and this was a joke without even knowing anything about the case. And that's what leads me to believe that Josh Hawley did not read the evidence. Go ahead.
My second point was you talked about him running away. In the film that was released along with the Shaman Man, it shows where Josh Hawley did not run away. He was helping and being escorted by Capitol Police to do what he did.
So where was he running to? Where was he running to?
They were being shown out of the building.
Okay, so if they were being shown out of the building or not, he was still running away from the mob, correct, JD?
No.
So what was he running away from then?
View the film, and then you can correct yourself.
I'm asking you, if he wasn't running from the mob, regardless of whether security was telling him to go one way or another, if he wasn't running away from the mob,
I don't know where he was. I don't know where he was running from. Obviously,
was he running from Ocasio-Cortez, or was he running from the mob? What do you think he was running from?
They were evacuating the building.
JD, I understand.
I understand. He was probably running away from lunatics.
Okay, exactly. I agree with you. He was probably running away from those lunatics, also known as insurrectionists. The point that I was trying to make, and what many others make, is Josh Hawley was the one who put his fist up in solidarity to some of those same people that were breaking down windows and assaulting police officers. And then, about an hour later, after the insurrection started, whether people were escorting him out or not, he was running away like the scared little man that he is. That's the point that I was trying to make.
Okay, Brian, one more point then now that you bring it up.
Okay.
January 6th was one Republican conservative MAGA demonstration, which got out of control. It doesn't have any, we do not do that on a regular basis like 570 Black Lives Antifa.
There's another right-wing talking point. So first of all, do you know all the...
That happened for 2 years.
Do you know all those people and whether they were registered Democrats or not, people that were involved in Black Lives Matter protests? Why are you making it a right-wing, left-wing thing? Here's what we do know. The over 1,000 people that were... you can laugh all you want. It's called a fact. The over 1,000... It's a MAGA laugh. The over 1,000 people that were convicted in courts were not only Republicans, but alt-right people that were a part of alt-right groups. Why is it every time somebody wants to talk about white supremacy or somebody wants to talk about January 6th, you people always want to go whataboutism and talk about Black Lives Matter? Why is that?
How about the 20,000 people who were charged and arrested and then let go from Black Lives Matter?
Okay, so first of all,
only three have been, out of the 20,000 have been served time.
That is a lie for you to go on the air right now and say of all the Black Lives Matter protests, only 3 people have been convicted. That's number one. But here's the fundamental difference between you and me, and I want to be very clear on this. There's probably a lot of differences, but I'll start with this issue. The fundamental difference between you and me is anybody during a Black Lives Matter that assaulted a police officer or committed a violent act, I'm not going to defend them and call it a tourist visit. People like you called people. No, you wait. I'm not done with my point yet. Pot him down. Pot him down. I start over. I'm not a Democrat, JD, so don't start with your buffoonery. I said the difference between you and me, not the difference between you and Democrats. I'm going to start over again so you listen because this is very important. The difference between people like you and me is I don't defend people that assault police officers. I don't defend people that commit violent acts. It could be a Black Lives Matter protest or it could be January 6th. People like you call January 6th insurrectionist tourist visitors. If somebody at a Black Lives Matter protest assaults a police officer or even steals something or commits a violent act, I'm not going to defend them, and I want them to go to jail. But people like you defend the insurrectionists on January 6th, and all you want to do is talk about Black Lives Matter. Why is that, sir?
Because you don't talk about them at all.
Oh, okay. Have a nice day, JD. Yeah, notice how he deflected and he doesn't want to answer the question. By the way, because the I'll answer the question. Because Black Lives Matter protests and those that were convicted, it's over with. And January 6th is still going on. There's an investigation into Donald Trump. That's why I still talk about January 6th. And people like you want to defend the insurrectionists. And I notice how you don't want to answer that question when I pin you in a corner.
So, as a black man, African-American man, whatever you want to call me, I would have loved to make a comment on that. Brian, you handled it well. However, I need to take a step back from all the conversations we're having right now because, again, I'm commenting live on YouTube, and we have a lot of people who are interested in calling in, and I would love for you to make a comment on this, Brian.